probably the most stable region of all in the DreamHack Masters. Can this man be the man to do it? Obviously, you can't win the whole thing right here, but it would be a big step towards it if you can win this series. Our blue Terran player is Kelazhur.
In the bottom left is the red Terran for Storm Gaming. He is SpeCial. You know, I really like that the prediction goat not existing anymore and just like not being a thing anymore at all means that everyone is now actively like shedding on the idea.
You know what it is?
You guys just don't care.
You know what it is though? Like originally when we did predictions, I kind of cared. Then we did prediction goat, and I really cared. And now we just do predictions again. I really don't care. I realize that without a prediction goat, is there any meaning to it at all? You know.
I love the conundrum though from the lovely people trying to make this broadcast better. You know, not us, of course, but the other people who are like, we have to make them like have fun and be like a little or something. And yet they have to be so careful because they literally dangled a fake miniature toy goat plush in front of our eyes. And we went freaking cannibalistic. So they're just like, we're just not going to touch this anymore.
Like, I have my constellation goat upstairs under the TV. He sits there and watches me every day. I wake up, ZG, I look in that constellation goat's eyes, and all I think to myself is, I can do better. You know, he motivates me now, so...
I can do better than the Muslim. And then Nathanius, I think, was like the surprise winner.
Yeah, Nathanius just, Which absolute nonsense, by the way. You know, I just want to, don't think this has been said on broadcast, so very quickly before the builds break out. Just want to say, Nathanius was only leading the prediction goat last season after the semifinals. Didn't even lead it after the finals. Just after the one semifinal, we ended the entire counting. I was completely scammed. I even thought of the rule. I scammed myself. Unbelievable. All right, builds.
Oh, amazing. There are builds happening. We got a multiple Reaper opener from Kelazhur. When I say multiple, I mean multiple. SpeCial in a kind of odd move for TVT. Only going for one Reaper. Also, one Rex expanded, right? He does, out of all the Terrans, I think SpeCial gets like a 70% chance of one Rex expanding, and every other Terran gets a 30% chance of one Rex expanding.
Yeah, he just likes to drop it down and get it going nice and quickly. Kelazhur gonna have a lot of Reapers, a lot of Hellions very quickly here. Definitely wants to get in and, you know, put some pressure on with these, especially as he's gonna go up to 6 Reapers in total. Yeah. And he is gonna go for one more Hellion as well. So yeah, this is really looking to get across, do some damage. I really, you know, obviously Kelazhur practice partners with Clem because they're on the same team. I wonder how much that helps Kelazhur in preparing for this series. I imagine a lot. I saw them practicing a lot when they were at the boot camp, when they're like in games with each other. So I imagine a lot of that was preparation for probably just this for Kelazhur as he splits up, and the Woodmine still hasn't gone off. Oh my goodness, SpeCial. The retargeting was pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, that actually destroyed Kelazhur's push. That is really bad for him. Poor Reapers don't really have anything to say. I mean, they can backstab, actually, and that might be the best thing they can do. But then, really, all of your armies on the other side of the map. SpeCial is just raring to go, getting across the map ASAP. That Cyclone will no way be out. Okay, the Reapers are causing SpeCial to maybe doubt himself. Okay. The Cyclone pops out, but that's a couple SCVs dead.
Okay, did we even get an SCV at the end?
No, I don't think we did.
Oh,
wow, that's actually quite amazing. And now Kelazhur's going to lose all of these SCVs. Not too bad, 2 dead, 2 very, very weak. But SpeCial, remember, he also got away with that faster command center. It's just a much better position for him.
Much better position, no doubt about it. It's, that was kind of a thrilling few moments then, because Kelazhur got completely shut down. But I gotta say, I thought the counterattack of SpeCial would do more. But then I also thought when Kelazhur came back in, I was like, oh, he actually could maybe do some more as well. Oh, this is where SpeCial maybe gets something done. Cyclone moving forward. Marines go to fight that Cyclone. I feel like he could have just left the one Marine to go down, and he maybe could have just got into the mineral line, but goes for the Cyclone, doesn't quite get it. Now they lock on. Now we do lose the Cyclone. The Raven is there. We only escape with one Marine, but of course the medevac surviving is a nice little touch as well.
The most important thing by far is having that medevac stay alive. A trade of 4 or 5 Marines for Cyclone is actually kind of worth it. I mean, one unit is going to add later on, I guess. The Marines are what you always get in TVT, but the Cyclone still has a lot of importance. So the medevac can pick up even these ones and then just return to being harassy sassy. And there's no Cyclone to stop it.
No Cyclone to stop it at all. Is just going to be seeing Kelazhur at least going to try and take some map control. We'll hold the watchtowers with a couple of Reapers and the Hellion that he has remaining. But the Cyclone is here from SpeCial to try and play cleanup, right? Just get rid of that map control, take Kelazhur's information away from him. And of course, if you can do that, then that would be really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kelazhur may not have gotten the opening that he wanted, but TVT has a way of getting long games in it, especially on 2,000 atmospheres. I would say, especially if SpeCial was going mech, and I see no second barracks, and I see 4 gases, and only 1 engineering bay. Oh, and 2 starports. So yeah, it's mech. So this is... Well, actually, SpeCial could probably find a moment of attack with Raven, Tank, and Viking reinforcement. But if he doesn't find any success there, then talking about a pretty long game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the power of TVT, right? Even if you fall behind, you can drag games out just by playing defensively. Like, you don't even have to be, like, that annoying about it. You just sit at home a little bit and, you play your defense. Kelazhur is coming pushing. Army supply lead on his side. Obviously, pushing into the defending position is tough, and SpeCial has more Ravens, which means he does have that kind of extra energy to spend, and so in one burst of a fight, he is maybe a little bit more powerful. Kelazhur will have more Vikings, however, now SpeCial's building 3 Vikings at a time, so he's trying to fight back for that air control, because obviously he is just continuing into that double starport style and playing a little bit wonky.
What's really effective about what SpeCial is doing is that Kelazhur is going to figure, probably right now, actually, with that scan, he probably figures he's up against a mech player. So, because SpeCial does mech a decent amount. So you don't have to scout too much, but just seeing the lack of Marines, triple Raven, I think that actually might be enough. We'll see if he builds tech labs. Anywho, so you face a guy playing mech, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to try and jump forward and get to my own air. And SpeCial's already done that process. So he's like, oh, you're going to try and transfer over into something else? Yeah, good luck with that. I'm going to come and kill you. Right. Which actually is happening already. I didn't even think it was going to be this fast. But that's going to be tough for Kelazhur to stop, since he can't really... There's not a whole lot of punish for him here. He doesn't have 20 Marines, 25 Marines with stim and combat shields that can just kind of jump on an unsieged SpeCial. Kind of just has to wait and hope that he can finagle something out, buy more time, get more units.
Yeah, if he did just have, like, a lot of Marines as well, because there's only, the single factory that's kind of up right now, the tank count's low. It's slower than it might usually be. So eventually that would be kind of nice, as we do see some Marines are coming forward. They're going to stim. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Anti-armor missile drops. We're going to start fighting. You can just see the air army absolutely working out for SpeCial. Kelazhur's going to start losing this, and I feel like he was so confident because he just said, well, you've got 3 Ravens, I've got 2. In theory, I should be okay here. I will have been building Vikings for longer, but that was not the case because of that extra starport. Now we build a 3rd starport and a fusion core, and we really start to spice things up. The SpeCial is just very far ahead already.
Yep. It's kind of funny. I feel like there's a lot of potential for the bio player to kind of skip a step in TVT, but when SpeCial skips a step faster, basically, and is actually able to still find an attack when Kelazhur doesn't have enough bio units, it looks so abusive. It looks like SpeCial is just playing a much better TVT, and of course right now he is, but it doesn't usually go like this, right? There's usually a lot more tug of war, and there's a lot more pressure from Kelazhur going bio onto SpeCial's mech than what we just saw there. But SpeCial is playing a very fast game that depends on a lot of knowledge about the matchup. And that is what SpeCial does best a lot of the time. I've always given credit to his ideas for his builds and the theoretics behind what he does. Just occasionally his mechanics don't pan out, or his luck doesn't pan out. So even this like hidden base, right? That's a very special thing to do, and I think he'll get away with it. But if he tries to defend it, for instance, thinking that he has to, I don't know why he would, but if he does, then that actually might be an opening for Kelazhur. I don't even know if Kelazhur's going to scout it, though.
Yeah, this is... I just like it. It feels like SpeCial just comes into this matchup with, like, full of confidence. It's like, you know what? I can do what I want. I'm going to play my own kind of style. I'm just going to take bases where I want to. And it feels like when you come in with that kind of confidence, it's like... an extra something that Kelazhur has to find a way to beat, because, not everyone's going to play like this. When you're practicing, people don't necessarily play like that. And yeah, it's a tough little challenge to overcome.
It's... if Kelazhur wasn't so damn good, if this was anyone else, this was me, I'd already be out of this freaking game, man. Because I see where this is going. Freaking battle cruisers. But Kelazhur is going to try and play this out. Because not only is he a good player, he's also never been a player that just gets so mentally defeated that he's like, I don't care anymore, let's just tap out. So he'll definitely give it the old college try. But SpeCial has advanced past so many steps of TVT that would have given Kelazhur advantages. The step of defending and reaching towards your fourth, not quite able to do it, and the fifth is really difficult to do. That's where Kelazhur would thrive. Pulling you out of position, multitasking, and then he himself would seamlessly be transitioning into air. Now, SpeCial's already skipped it. He's already on 4, actually 5 bases, no damage done to him, already into what could be triple or even quadruple battlecruiser production. You just can't catch up this Kelazhur. I actually see no way in which Kelazhur is supposed to win this TVT.
Yeah, Kelazhur is like trying to slow down the game to do what? Like what SpeCial did 5 minutes ago already. It's just so rough. The fact that we're already at BCs is really kind of crazy. We just teleport away, probably actually over on this side. We're just going to teleport into this. Now, there are Vikings here. We've obviously got Vikings in return, and that's a lot of Vikings from SpeCial, huh? Yeah, now these tanks have to unsiege because the BCs are just going to have a good time against them. And yeah, Kelazhur is just trying to hold on, but what do you really do? I mean, try and re-siege the tanks, but where? Obviously, SpeCial wants to bring his tanks further forward so they can deal with the Marines. That's the only thing stopping him from just pushing through to win this whole thing out. And, well, the Marines are about to get blasted right now.
They are. Yes, that was about perfect
one-sided
from
as being short.
SpeCial. Well, yes, that too as well. But this is like a perfect game. This is, and I do not mean this to disrespect SpeCial or Kelazhur, but rather to compliment SpeCial. This was almost like Versailles practice. Like, he did everything that he wanted to do in this game with little to no interruption, even though Kelazhur literally tried his best with like a very aggressive opener. SpeCial took care of it so easily, harassed really easily, and then did the rest of his build and all of his expansions without any form of aggression from Kelazhur because he'd already been hamstringed. So it looks so darn easy for SpeCial. That's a rare occurrence, I think, in StarCraft of this level where you really do get to do everything you want with ease.
Yeah, I was actually kind of impressed. I mean, kind of cool going second starport and stuff, and he just says, yeah, I'm far enough ahead. I can just go straight to air. I don't need extra tank production. I don't need to bother with bio. And he made it work. I mean, there was a moment where maybe Kelazhur was like, oh, maybe I can push here, and that just went horribly wrong too. Yeah, I mean, all came off obviously a rough start for Kelazhur, but yeah, it's just scary, like I say, how much confidence and belief you have in your setups that are SpeCial, because it takes a lot of belief in yourself to say, oh yeah, that's going to cut like 7 corners at once. He just drove straight across the roundabout. He didn't go around at all, so yeah.
Right to the park, right over the pedestrians.
He didn't turn for anything.
Yeah. I was sitting there trying to think of what in the world Kelazhur could have done in response to change things up. Unfortunately, he was already set with the opener, which did not pan out, so he was behind there. But usually you're not so far behind. It's like, oh, sorry, you lost your Reapers. I guess you died. But then I'm trying to think of something that isn't also a different build order. Because, okay, maybe Kelazhur could have done like a 2-1-1 opener or something. Like Time was bringing those back in TVT. And then I think SpeCial's build would have trouble against that. Not because you'd get dropped to death, just because the amount of Marines would be hard to deal with when you have so few tanks, as you were pointing out.
Yeah.
But then, again, that's not the build he was going for. So what do you do if that happens again as Kelazhur? How do you change that mid part of the TVT to respond better to SpeCial? And I'm actually kind of struggling to think of how you would.
Then you just skip yourself, right? You see just how greedy he's been, and then you just say, okay, maybe cut down on the bio production a little bit, because that's not going to be useful. And let's just start playing into starports and factories of my own. And because otherwise you're literally playing bio units against like a late game Sky Terran guy, which is not what you do late game, right? You build the Marines because it's like, oh, I'm not going to have enough gas to build everything else forever. Yeah, I don't know. That's my best guess. It's somewhat of a guess because it's so unusual you see something like that. Top left-hand side, down a game. Let's see if we can keep my belief alive. It is Team Liquid's Kelazhur.
In the bottom right, as the red Terran for Storm, it is SpeCial. Again, one of the cleanest TVTs I've seen that went that long too. Sometimes we'll see clean 2 racks wins or something like that, but there's usually a lot more wiggle room in TVT. There is absolutely 0 wiggle for Kelazhur. I do wonder if that is going to spur him on as far as changing his build orders drastically, just to never be caught kind of in that trap again. But then you'd be following SpeCial's lead, which is a dangerous thing to do, because it's not like SpeCial only ever shows that one build. He's also going to be mixing it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the scary thing too, right? It's not like he's just kind of only got that in his toolkit, you know? He can do a lot of different things, and I always thought that was actually one of the biggest strengths of SpeCial, you know, in TVT especially. Like, he always seemed to have a lot of cool TVT builds. A lot of them kind of stemmed from what TY would do, you know, like speed banshees and stuff. But, you know, if you tell me, like, have you ever seen someone, like, go for, like a 2.5 base, like, mech wall, and I'm like, one person, SpeCial. You know, and it actually looked kind of good, but, like, no one else does that kind of stuff, at least not anywhere near with regularity. And SpeCial just really developing, like, just such a cool style for himself lately, and I feel like that just transcends in so many matchups as well. It's like, you know, TVP keeps building these Banshees and these BCs and stuff, and it just like, it's like he's crafting his own style of StarCraft, and he's being so successful with it. It's really impressive.
It is really impressive, and I kind of wish that it would be more successful on the bigger stages, because he would get to the season finals, and then he wouldn't do so hot. Like, that's just a fact. He just wouldn't do so hot. But the games would always be so full of potential. It's like it was there. You were so close, and it's not quite. So it doesn't quite translate to those tournaments again, especially never quite reaching that height of top 4 BlizzCon many, many years ago. But always having one of the, I guess, most original minds combined with really great mechanics, since, you know, he's been playing this game forever. So you never doubt SpeCial, that's for sure. But anyways, he also, I think, is good at, like, soaking up other people's ideas too. So that's another reason why he's able to do what he does. Big talk around him and TY, after all, right? Both very original Terrans.
There's going to be a couple SCVs killed already. Can he get up to 3? Yes, he can. Is he going to get... Don't tell me he's going to get 4. Jeez.
Yeah. It does sacrifice his 2 Reapers, but since Kelazhur this time around is not going for the 6 Reaper stuff, I mean, he's still going for 3 and 2 Hellions. It's, like, a little feisty. It just isn't as scary. You know, SpeCial can calmly wait for a Cyclone, and assuming it doesn't severely miss micro, it'll be all right. So ultimately, 2 Reapers for 4 SCVs is worth. Hellion gets an additional 1, delays the command center, and lives. All the luck going to SpeCial at this point. Oh, boy.
Yeah, even that Cyclone last shot hits a Hellion. Nice. Yeah, now they're just going to build the Banshee, and if Kelazhur doesn't have that Cyclone position, I just got a feeling that with the way that this game is going, this could be like a good old, like, 5, 6, 7 kill Banshee that just really solidifies the lead in this game for SpeCial right now.
Right, with the way this series is going. I'm really worried.
Yeah.
It's tough. Kelazhur, I know we've been talking a lot about how, you know, kind of smart SpeCial is basically in his matches. Kelazhur, it's not that he's not smart, but he is always going to be more of kind of the fancy micro player. He loves his Reaper usage. Reaper micro can be absolutely excellent, and he loves his multitasking. But it just is a position where usually you would get to that point where you can be comfortable in the TVT Kelazhur. SpeCial's not really letting him get there in any decent amount of units or amount of time. This is an excellent catch, but good for SpeCial to realize that was on the way. Take the high ground. No, not really worth burning a scan for that one.
No, not really. Not yet, at least. So it's just going to be the Banshee looking around. Now SpeCial's going hunting with his own Cyclone, seeing if he can find something on the map. As Kelazhur gets a little drop in the main base, and this is nice. Some SCV damage that he really, really needed. 6 work is going to bring him right back in the work account. And yeah, that's the best thing that Kelazhur's probably had happen to him all series long so far. The drop gets out alive as well. I feel like I'm dreaming.
That's much better. Much better. Yeah, the Cyclones will not be able to catch up to it. So very nicely done by Kelazhur, who at least brings the SCV gap a little closer. But with SpeCial's 3rd CC already finalized, it's like, well, how long will it stay close? SpeCial is still, again, kind of outpacing with his, you know, slightly greedier decisions, but then also all of these little bits of damage done. Apparently 4 more SCVs just went down to SpeCial's
Banshee, maybe?
Oh, yeah, the Banshee was still alive. That's right. So the Banshee, pretty much good trade for Banshee for SCVs with no cloak.
But do you think it would have been worth the scan now? Probably not, because he probably wouldn't have died, but yeah, I mean, just that Banshee shows up and puts SpeCial back in the worker lead. Hellion Cyclone coming through, kaboom, gets rid of a Reaper. Nice little shutdown on that.
SpeCial not playing mech this time around. Kelazhur, I think, would actually be happy to see that. I mean, not that he's bad against mech. Again, just most importantly, getting his time to shine, getting his multitasking, getting his pressure going. And those are things that are finally happening in this game. I was going to say maybe Medevac drop in front of 2 Ravens. A little sketch, but one of them will go down. And 2 Ravens will make that 1 Raven still alive for Kelazhur. Hasn't used the auto turret quite yet. There we go. Saves the 1. And the grenade pop to help out there too. And SpeCial's command center is like, I thought we were winning, guys. Why have to turn around?
Yeah, I feel like SpeCial's Raven. I mean, he went so quickly with the Matrix, then he auto turreted high ground expecting the drop to keep coming through. But then the auto turret wasn't in range of anything. If that auto turret is low ground, then he goes in with everything as well. It's obviously a much cleaner kind of shutdown and pushback, but maybe made things a little complicated for him there. Don't get me wrong, obviously it's still looking good for SpeCial, at least economy-wise, although now he is hurting a lot of army. It's just the question of, does Kelazhur have the confidence to keep on pushing with the army that he's got, trying to find something with it, or is he just going to back it up right now and try and slow this game down a little bit, which is what I feel he's going to do. I don't blame him for it, but obviously we can see that maybe just keeping on going would have been all right as well.
It's very, very, very tempting and usually correct for a Terran player to wait for these important upgrades. Stim and combat shields, right? There's the tech phase of TVT, Ravens, tanks, Vikings, whatever, and then there's the marine tank portion of it, which usually you slow down when you're kind of almost quote unquote transitioning. You're adding. But if Kelazhur picks up on that, the fact that he can continue pressuring, even though he's not having stim, he's not having combat shields, then he will be able to continue pushing leads, unless these fights start to go drastically wrong for him.
Yeah. Let's got those tanks coming around that right-hand side. A couple of Vikings coming over and joining up in good numbers. Kelazhur, the drop back into the main. I like this. It's the one thing that went very well for him before, and if it worked once, why not try it again until SpeCial shows that he's going to defend it. These few Marines moments away from stim, which would just make them so much better, but here come the reinforcements and immediately are forced to lift up, back away, just as it felt like he was about to have stim to really get the damage done.
That was really scary. I thought he was going to pull those SCVs prior to any other support. That would have been instant 8 SCV deaths for sure. Not quite paying attention to the medevac. It is going to be lost. The 1 Cyclone still alive. And SpeCial has secured his position and thus his lead. So he's still up 9 workers. He's got faster of 1-1. If he starts combat shields in the next 20-30 seconds, I think that's still okay too. But if he just forgot it, then that is an issue.
Yeah,
got 100 gas.
That's the only thing he's really missing. And I mean, he's pushing across the map right now. We might have a clash right here. I don't think anyone's really siege in range of each other, although those Marines moved forward. But even if SpeCial goes down, he's now going to continue chasing with his Vikings, though. It would be great if you could get the Raven of Kelazhur. Doesn't quite manage it. Yeah, Raven advantage is a pretty big deal. That's something Kelazhur could maybe make work for himself.
Maybe. Yes. 2 interference matrix. 1 tank will fall for SpeCial, but the other one should... Oh, that's also actually going to fall. No scan.
Oh, no
scan.
vision.
No scan.
No!
Okay, never mind.
Well, that is the end of the air control from Kelazhur. SpeCial just has a few Vikings. It's not a lot, but it's better than absolutely nothing at all. And these tanks just trying to get themselves better and better off. That sense tower is going to go down, and then he can work his way around this area much more easily. And SpeCial is finally started that combat shield as well. So that one thing we were looking out for, saying, please start this at some point. Well, he's absolutely on top of that right now as well.
Has not started his armory, so maybe the catch-up on the upgrades will happen for Kelazhur, but he is currently preoccupied with the defense. He does have quite a nice arc. That was a little bit of an overreach there from SpeCial, who loses the tanks and also starting to lose those Vikings. And still doesn't have those combat shields, so it's always a little bit like, well, even if he did have a really good opening, that lack of combat shields always kind of makes you second guess. So SpeCial is stalled, at least temporarily. He's not going to give up his position, but again, I don't think he's actually going to find any more movements. Just trying to distract. Maybe a cheeky tank, maybe another sensor tower. That's still good stuff. Even a refinery. Definitely need 6 gas as a TVT.
Yeah, I mean, gas is something you spend a lot of in TVT, so losing a bit of income there is very painful, and this is just the power of SpeCial's position. And I like this from Kelazhur. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just counterattack, right? Your opponent is so well set up on your side of the map. How are you ever going to break him? Just run across the map. But look at this. I mean, SpeCial just knows what he can lose to right now. Gets a tank in position. SCV scouts it. He's going to stem down. He's got medevac, so he's just going to win this fight no matter what. And now Kelazhur kind of looks silly.
Yeah, but you're right. It was a good idea. Just very appropriate timing for SpeCial to consider it and say, oh, I should probably get some defenses up there. Both are getting up to their 4th base. Both are done, ready to turn into planetaries. SpeCial has a worker lead, but it's not like 76 workers is terrible for Kelazhur. Just the army supply. It's just the army supply that's not doing so hot. And perhaps positioning as well. SpeCial's going to actually pounce on top of this not planetary. Is there going to be a save here? I'm not so sure. Kelazhur is not bringing enough army over as he sees the big drop in the main that severely distracts him. That left side base is a goner.
You know what? He did have some units on the way over here, but they completely moved toward the main to deal with the big drop. So he basically prioritized, says, do I lose my main or do I lose this 4th? And probably chooses to lose the 4th, which probably means he loses the game later instead of right now. Probably the right choice, but yeah, obviously it's just painful. Like, you're just not getting anywhere as Kelazhur, and SpeCial is just able to take lead after lead. His own 4 bases are all set up nicely, and as he gets maxed out, he should just look to keep on taking fights.
It is very fortunate that Kelazhur is good when it comes to just mass marine multitasking, so I think that's what he's going to have to do. I'm not really so sure he's going to win this game with good old-fashioned turtle into matching late-game starport production, which is a lot of the reason why TVT refuses to die. It's like you can just turtle and kind of produce tanks and starport units, and you'll live for a decent amount of time. But I don't think it's where Kelazhur necessarily thrives. So I would actually really hope that, yes, he gets his 4th base up. Maybe, yes, he does try and get into the starport units, but actually just utilizing maybe an upgrade advantage and trying to run around. Very difficult call, especially when you're not sure if you have enough Marines to even do that. If he's down 40 Marines, can't do it. But just trying to attempt to get a 4th base up while slowly building the Viking count, SpeCial is going to figure it out, pinpoint the weaknesses, and demolish Kelazhur.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big stim. He's just going to move forward right now. 2 tanks were sieged initially. They targeted down pretty quick. Now's maybe the time to back it up a little bit, losing quite a few Marines there, and he's just about to get 2-2 as well. And yeah, I mean, he obviously just wants to take a position to make sure he can't, Kelazhur can't take a 4th base. So for SpeCial, even if that was a bad fight in terms of numbers, I'm not sure if it was or not, but even if it was, he gets the position that says, no, you can't take the 4th here. And that's all he's looking for, to keep Kelazhur off the 4th base. And the longer that happens for, further ahead SpeCial ends up, of course, as he's got tanks here that Kelazhur is going to try and break. Obviously, is maybe a weak point, and he is able to break that down, gets rid of the sensor tower, regains the middle of the map a little bit.
This is what I would like Kelazhur to do. Absolutely. He finally finds a bit of an opening, not just in killing those tanks, finding SpeCial a little too late to the party, but like also just literally an opening across the map. He can actually move his army around and get situated on his 4th base. I like seeing the medevacs now being produced. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a hard game to try and just slowly crawl after SpeCial. So opting for the technically worse army, but the more mobile and more pouncy army, I just feel like that's actually Kelazhur's better chance in this game. So go for it. Press the go button. It's a green light. Take care of that base and hopefully get some damage done on this one. SpeCial, though, wrapping around. Is he actually going to try and break this? That's not a good idea. That is so many Marines on the left side, and SpeCial's Marines coming in a little bit late, but definitely in good numbers and with the anti-armor missile. And, of course, Kelazhur's Marines would not win. Oh, that is a stim. Oh. That is a hurtful stim right there. That tank shot really helped out, but the anti-armor missile is still in effect here. SpeCial is going to capitalize on it. And suddenly Kelazhur's Marine, not advantage exactly, but Marine force in general is dead. Oh, the planetary's dead too, actually.
Yeah, gets rid of a base at least, so that's something. But obviously it feels as though Kelazhur's about to lose bases here as well. SpeCial is set up to obviously hold this position. That orbital at least is going to have to fall back, and even if it doesn't go down, it's not mining. We're actually going to dive the right side, and we're going to lift up those Marines, and doesn't have to get rid of the tank he was going for.
Not quite, but that was big halt on Kelazhur's momentum. If he had a second tank with the Marines running in stims, then that actually is still Kelazhur with a very good position. As it is, he is down about 20 army supply. His upgrade finishes first, but Special is hot on the heels with that +3 attack, and simply put, he has more stuff. And Kelazhur finds his tanks on siege, runs back to the planetary and try and save the day. We'll save 3 of them, so not bad. But overall, down 50 supply. Kelazhur was not able to make enough moves with the base ground army.
No, not enough was done there at all as these couple tanks siege up. Vikings and a Raven going to be looking forward, and a few more units of Special coming around the top side. Tanks just continuing to siege and getting set up across the board here. It's going to be having some facing tank action, and, well, yeah, I mean, it is just a question of when can Special get that final breakthrough. It does feel like he's not that far away from it anymore. He's absolutely feeling pretty close right now.
Kelazhur is trying to get more Vikings. I think he sees that Special really doesn't have that many. So he's like, oh, maybe I can actually win this particular fight. Tries to go on the left side and then does find some units from Special. Finds more Marines after the fact. They get the concave. They take out the tanks. Maybe not this very last one, but still digging into Kelazhur's already limited number of units. I absolutely still think that Kelazhur, giving him a bigger map, actually. So Kelazhur was behind. Kelazhur was behind in the pacing. Kelazhur had to make some really tough decisions. I love the idea of trying to go into just kind of like push momentum, Marine fights, or, concaves, arcs. And if it was Glittering Ashes, I really wonder if Kelazhur could have done a lot more of that, plus like run-bys and catching Special over expanding. But Berlingrad really is a fantastic map for this punishing play of Special. Just the siege the tanks, get the Vikings and Ravens. And it's the better army when it is positioned well, and it's easier to position it well in Berlingrad.
Yep. It actually, I mean, this continued defense of Kelazhur maybe makes you wonder, what if we just got into this position a bit more evenly, right? Felt like from the start he was kind of behind, and he brought it back a bit. It feels like at some point he's been able to do a great job just holding on, but it feels like that's almost what he's doing best, holding on. Actually, staying even in the first place is something that Kelazhur has not been able to do so far, and yeah, it looks like Special is chasing tanks with tanks, and well, they're all going to siege up at the same time. We drop an auto turret to help out, and Marines come through too. Special is actually going to get wrecked in that fight, so that's a huge win for Kelazhur. If only there was more going his way.
2 medevacs are very low. I don't think that's worth it. I don't know, even though it's only a tiny amount of Marines for Kelazhur. But Kelazhur probably getting a bit tired of just trying to make the comeback happen, realizing that it's not going to happen in this game, cuts his losses, and we're going to head into game 3. I mean, a very different type of well, more of a normal TBT, really. That first game was just a masterclass by Special. Second game was a lot more of that back and forth. And Kelazhur got a couple of jabs in there, but it still resulted in Special looking like the better TBTer. I don't know what happened in that best of 5 where Special lost 2 games to Kelazhur, but I gotta imagine it was a lot more about like early game build order kind of wackiness.
He looks good late game, right? Just controls the situation. It feels like some of the fights that Special is losing are just fights where he's like, well, I'm so far ahead, I'm going to take it anyway, because even if I lose this fight, it stops you from maybe getting fully maxed out or fully set up somewhere, and that's worth more to him in that game state than just sort of saying, oh no, I'm only looking for efficiency, right? Because if you take that approach in TVT, you can get kind of like stopped, and then it is kind of a situation where it's like, oh no, we're all tied up, maxed out, and then it becomes a lot more positional again. So yeah, I gotta say, Special's playing some great TVT, man. I mean, yeah. Not much else to add to it.
Yep, and I was really trying to recall any of the games they played, 7 months ago, but I can't. I just know what I like watching Kelazhur do, and I think it is some more of those medevac versus medevac scenarios, more of the Reapers versus Reapers, I might go to a bit better scenarios. It's not that I don't believe Kelazhur takes Special to the limit on macro map, because I'm absolutely sure that he has won macro games, but I think we agree that Kelazhur's more early mid, and Special is more like mid-late, or just strategically better.
No, I think this... it just makes sense, right? It just seems to be what we're seeing. As we go into Blackburn for map 3. I mean, this is a terrifying map as well, because Special, he will control this map. If he falls behind, he's, I think, very comfortable turtling up on this map if he needs to. He's very scary with mech on this map. Yeah, this is not the map I'd like to be on if I'm Kelazhur. I'm hoping for like a you know, a 2K again or like a Glitter and Ashes or something, right? Because that maybe where Kelazhur could really do well. Yeah, right now just not really finding it.
Actually, Kelazhur vetoed Glittering Ashes, so he's not wanting the large amount.
Well, maybe not that one then. Okay, fair enough. I don't know though. It just feels like, I mean, Berlingrad wasn't it, right? So
yeah.
Let's try to find something different.
I absolutely agree with your assessment, but I think you veto at the beginning of the series, you're thinking maybe like stop SpeCial from getting to the late game, get that more aggressive map, and that makes a lot of sense. But it does not pan out that way so far for Kelazhur. Does Blackburn have the magic to change things up? Kelazhur's hoping so. Bottom left, spawning on Blackburn for Team Liquid as the Blue Terran. His name is Diego. His real name is Kelazhur.
His real name. In the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player. This is SpeCial from Storm Gaming.
Kind of saw an opportunity to troll our observer, so I took it.
I just never stopping. Always talking.
Yeah. Yep. I remember being validated once, in my opinion, that we're, you know, Smix is Smix, you're Wardy, I'm Zombie Grub. Because I felt like at a point I was becoming one of the rare ones. Everyone was calling people real names, you know, Ben, Kevin, Sue, whatever. And I was like, I just like CG so much better. And then I talked to Tasteless, and he was like, "Nah, you're Zombie Grub for sure." And I was like,
"You're Zombie Grub for sure."
Yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. Anyways, I thought Diego's actually a poor name. Actually, Diego's probably one of the cooler names.
Yeah, Diego's a pretty cool name. See, that's the benefit of Wardy. It's what everyone calls me in real life as well. So
yeah, apparently. I did notice that Smix was like Wardy and Jess. Okay.
Yeah.
But people don't call you Wardy, right? They call you Wardy.
They call me. They don't call me Wardy. They call me Wardy.
I was surprised they called you Wardy, and then I accepted they called you Wardy, right?
Oh,
I was like,
right.
They don't call you Wardy. They do? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Pretty much everyone.
It is a story you've told before, and I've forgotten. This Reaper battle is stupid.
Yeah, the literally RNG Reaper battle.
Yep.
I mean, Kelazhur wins, so things are looking up, maybe.
Well, we said that when the medevac drop hit the main last game, so well, we need a little bit more proof here.
Okay, GZG, give me a little bit of hope.
No. I'm gonna smack you down for predicting Kelazhur to win.
You know, I said he'd win 3-2. He has to lose those 2 maps sometime. Why not lose them at the start? Why not lose them at the start, looking completely beat down? Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect the 2 games he lost to look like this, because honestly, the 2 games which SpeCial just looked great. And that second one, you know, Kelazhur had a few moments at least, and did a great job hanging on. But like I say, it feels like the best thing he did was hang on, and that's not really something great to hang on to as a stat, right?
That's not what you usually say. I mean, if I was going up against Mike Tyson and I was like, actually, I was in the ring for a full minute. Actually.
Yeah, I ran around in circles so quick.
But in StarCraft 2, it's usually not too much. There's usually even almost an allowance in StarCraft 2 of about 5 minutes before the much better player kills you. So you can't say like, I survived for 5 minutes. Kelazhur is being kind of led by the nose almost, especially in that first game, second game. Still a little bit there too. Key point is trying to keep the disruption going for him. So the medevac drop last game, that was part of it, and then it just didn't do quite enough. This second attempt at the medevac drop with a tank, I'm hoping it does a lot of damage. I'm hoping it kind of anchors itself and is a real bother for SpeCial.
Yeah, I mean, I want Kelazhur to get off to a good start. I want him to get a bit of a lead and see what SpeCial does there, because I actually believe SpeCial could probably fight back out of it. But obviously when Kelazhur is the one down, it'd be nice to see him get the upper hand initially and maybe get a chance to make something more of a series out of this. Let's see if he can. The SpeCial is going to come with a lot of Reaper Hellion. Widowmine there though, and he just put a Reaper into that to at least set it off, but the mine doesn't die, so that potentially could be used again a bit further down the line, especially at least slowing down the initial siege up of this tank.
Oh, the pickup on the Widowmine. I am loving the micro battle right now. The tank is, it's like kind of the big daddy of the battle, but it wasn't ever really in range. So nice micro from SpeCial. Now its true goal has been achieved. It sieges up to hit that factory. That's what it was aiming for. The Cyclone will temporarily stop the medevac, but it is temporary.
Yep, it's going to give a few shots on. Oh my god, the Raven! Okay. That would have been really crazy, no?
Yeah. That would have been something. But getting through the repair here. This is the thorn on the side that I was hoping for, though. Like, I didn't expect this to win the game, but it is a thorn in SpeCial's side. Even as he gets the interference matrix set off, does his tank actually reach? No. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh,
and that's bad because oh, it does.
Yeah, just missing the range for a second. That was actually, I guess because of the elevation, it was a bit hard to tell, but good on SpeCial. Yeah. He's much better than us.
Yeah, job well done. And obviously, clutch save on the factory because that would have been bad otherwise. As Kelazhur now goes to the front, going to try and make things happen from over here for a few moments. We do just have the Reapers, the Marines, Hellions, and everything starting to move on through. And, that blow-up was epic. Yeah, SpeCial's in a lot of trouble, man. He just isn't holding on right now. The Vikings land from Kelazhur, gets rid of one tank, is going to get rid of two. And the SCVs are pulled in. Yeah, it looks as though Kelazhur is absolutely going to be more than a thorn in the side.
He might win off of this. Now, a lot of this is happening also because SpeCial is being, once again, a bit greedy. Third CC and even on location already, and then right into that second starport. You don't have a lot of units in the early game, and it was a question of whether or not Kelazhur was going to find the build to punish it. And he does. Very nicely done. Kelazhur is starting the comeback.
Yes. Like I say, he has to lose 2 maps sometimes, EG, and this was it. Let's take a break. We're going to come back and see if Kelazhur can continue to come back to try and take down SpeCial.
The comeback has begun. Kelazhur takes Blackburn and puts us at a 2-1 score as we head into Hardwire. SpeCial, he got. He was up against a build that was potentially punishing and did turn punishing because he was being once again a bit greedy. A little too greedy.
Yeah, no, he was being a little bit too greedy. Kelazhur gets the better of him that time around, and nice momentum breaker, right? And Kelazhur able to get a map going, really turn the tides in this series maybe now. Don't get me wrong, obviously this was very much so. Got in there with a build, got it done, got the W, right? But very possible, I would say, that, you look into this next game already, and it's like, well, does Kelazhur need to do something again right now? Like, does he have to be aggressive, like, straight away? Or is it just going to end up like the other games again? And that gets me a little bit scared, because actually, with the way the first 2 games went, like, yeah, I kind of feel like he needs to get in there early, and that's not always possible.
Right, that is the conundrum. And plus, you can try and get in there early and then just, lose, like you did in the first game, actually. Like, he had a very aggressive opener and then just lost it. And then you feel like you put yourself behind. It's still very tough being down a game against SpeCial, the 6-time winner of this region. But this man has gotten close to defeating him before. Can he do it today? It is Kelazhur.
In the bottom left, it is our Red Terran player, SpeCial.
And we have a Proxy Rex. 1 Proxy Rex. So Proxy Marauder. SpeCial has a couple of follow-ups to this, and they're all rather clever. And I guess I'll just wait to see which one it is. But with 1 Proxy Barracks, it is going to be Marauders, and then it's the question of what happens afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to be getting in, maraudering it up, and then, like you say, there's so much potential from then. I like it, Kelazhur feels like, oh, I got in there early, I got something good going for me, nice. But now this is the sort of build where it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's kind of, going the other way again, and, SpeCial's just looking to say, no, you don't get to kind of decide, I'm going to take the momentum in this game early, I'm going to kind of make it on my terms, and you kind of have to respond to what I'm doing on the offensive, and that takes away the one thing you were good at in that last game, which is trying to be aggressive onto my defense.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. His momentum has been interrupted, and now he is trying as quick as possible to interrupt Kelazhur's. So Kelazhur not scouting with this build. You don't really have to when you go for a factory expand. And he does not this time around, so no idea Marauder's about to show up. I do love that he adds an SCV scout around the map. By the way, it wasn't a Marauder, it was actually just a Reaper. So this is something that SpeCial also can do. I think it's actually quite important that Kelazhur saw that it was in fact only 1 barracks, so he doesn't over-defend against this.
Yeah.
But SpeCial basically applies this kind of what ends up being very light pressure to get away with a lot of things back at home. And that's assuming he doesn't lose his Reaper.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. You just kind of get that Reaper out. You're going to get 2 Reapers out, and Kelazhur just got to be a little careful there. Obviously, that first Reaper is low HP, but if the second one shows up and you're not quite ready for it, then that could be bad. Obviously, not quite the case here this time around as we get going now. The 2 Reapers together will begin to move forward. And yeah, you just get to do what you want back at home. So CC is on the low ground already, so that's an advantage that you get to take over your opponent. It's not any later than your opponent's CC either, so it's already a little bit of a lead. I mean, the biggest thing you're missing is add-ons from the barracks, and that can be a little annoying, but this would suggest to me that we're probably not going to see more barracks this game for SpeCial anyway, and maybe focus a bit on mech. Absolutely a possibility, at least.
2 base mech. Second factory is already on the way. So, as I was saying, SpeCial has a couple of options off of this 1 Rax. If it was a Marauder, he could have gone into a Contain on the natural and into even like 3 CC. With the Reaper, I think that's also something he's done before, but this time around, he's going to apply that pressure, kind of keep Kelazhur locked into his own base and even into a little bit of his own mind, thinking, okay, what's happening to me very soon? So that his scout on this faster second factory comes rather late, following up with the Cyclones, and that usually the game-ending units, just because they're very fragile, right? Last cannons. But if you don't realize that's what they're doing, the tempo is very different when you face a Cyclone player. So Cyclone, number 1 from Kelazhur, first one gets dies, and the second one's like, oh wait, I'm supposed to help out. That one dies. Something you're not talking about a whole lot of defense from Kelazhur.
Yeah, no, it's things fall apart very quickly when you misread the Cyclones. So hopefully that's not going to happen here as we get ourselves set up shortly. It's going to be seeing the 2 Cyclones on the left side. Obviously, they don't have the upgrades yet, but if they can get a lock on, yeah, that works. 2 versus 1 for a little while. Then some Reapers come in from the side. That's not going to change too much. In the end, I think about even damage traded out there.
Kelazhur, 2 Cyclones. Usually we give them decent amount of map control. Seeing that SpeCial went for 2 as well. Oh, nice pickup. Is not that surprising. SpeCial is also kind of, I guess, even favoring a lot of these 2 Cyclone openers. The trick is, it's not just 2. It is into Cyclones. So Kelazhur, thinking that he can continue with some of the aggression, that his fancy footwork with the medevac's going to help him. It actually won't. Not if you're up against 4 going on 5 Cyclones with the upgrade. Your mech units get bopped.
Yeah, they really do. Oh god, again, nice little lift up onto the medevac there. We re-engage in, but I don't think Kelazhur was necessarily ready for the extra Cyclones to be there. As we do continue the micro one, Kelazhur, he's killed 2 Cyclones so far. The problem is his Cyclones are so low. Can he really risk continuing forward again? Great micro. Oh my god, you're kidding me, Kelazhur.
Yo.
Popping off right now.
Yeah, this is not supposed to happen. Okay, that's the effect of the upgrade right there. But yo, he made this so much more competitive, and now his tank on the front lines, I actually think it's a little overzealous, but still, that tank, had it not been seen by SpeCial and runs into it, it does 2-shot. The Cyclones wouldn't have killed him right off the bat, but imagine if like the Marines are still alive. That was so much better micro than not that I was expecting. I just thought it was possible, basically. Kelazhur still having 2 Cyclones alive? That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe the Cyclone's still alive. Micro absolutely on point. And Kelazhur, well, he will just back it up. You can still see SpeCial confident in his map control because he's putting that 3rd CC down on location already and so on. Of course, he should be. Kelazhur has to be much more careful about that kind of stuff because, well, these Cyclones will lock on and kill things super quick. You got to be very careful with what's kind of exposed at any point in time. And that is the power of SpeCial's build now. He's going to have a lot of map control for the upcoming future. And Kelazhur will have to kind of play it slow, and that might just drag this to the state of the game where we've been talking about that SpeCial just seems to be a little bit better at so far.
Right. Even though that was some awesome footwork there from Kelazhur, it still ultimately ends with SpeCial's plan kind of being allowed to execute, which is that the Reapers provide the pressure, again, keeping Kelazhur at home, perhaps, keeping him in his own head. Then the Cyclones follow up, right, which they really, I think, were supposed to kind of win out there. It was a weirder trade, but they still made Kelazhur basically never scout the 3rd CC was on location. So at the end of the day, even though there was more back and forth, SpeCial gets that kind of like 1-2 step where it's like pressure into greed. Let's see if I can actually get the greed without dying. So far, he is alive. The 4 tanks and 2 Ravens from Kelazhur against just 2 tanks of SpeCial. That's a very scary moment.
That was a great set of lock-on so far, though, as we do get the Raven as well. My goodness, those Cyclones have just found some insane value. A tank, a Cyclone, a Raven. I mean, those are great connections. It was very confident from SpeCial. He knew when to lock on. He was very quick at setting the lock-ons as well. Yeah, very nicely done.
And that is obviously another point in favor of the Cyclones. When they lock on to their targets, like that's their ideal, right? That's why they actually are quite scary as far as map pressure goes in this early game when you're so, quality focused. Very few units that are very high in quality. But if they get lock on a bunch of Marines and then the tanks actually do get across the map, then 4 Cyclones actually won't help you all that much. So that's the give and take there. But yeah, SpeCial, getting up to 4 Cyclones even after losing initial 4 ended up perfectly helping him out on that defense, on that time buying. He continues to expand. He now has a much better number of tanks. It's still not super high, but 4 is better. And now has 3 factories too. Actually going into very purposefully just 4 Hellions. So skipping some tank production here.
Yep. Just passing that by and getting some kind of buffer up, maybe some run around, maybe some map control back as well, just with something a little cheaper than the Cyclones. They're going to come in around the other side, and Kelazhur will pull the SCVs immediately, but Glib in the main is the one he doesn't notice as quickly, so he will lose at least a couple SCVs to that. One build in the depot goes down too, and for now, it looks like SpeCial's going to save the first Liberator. We'll see if he can save a second one, as he's also got those Cyclones lurking. That Raven just got back home in time.
You would love to bait some of these Vikings.
Yep. I feel like that's definitely the plan, right? It's the Liberator is going to get away, and now we have the scan, and goodbye to 2 Vikings. Beautiful play.
Absolutely. It's not like SpeCial needs that mule that would have been inside of the scan. He is on 77 workers, 3 base saturation, 4th base actually planting as I speak, expanding faster than the bio player. Terrible sign for the bio player. They don't like that. They don't feel so hot.
No. It's looking pretty rough at the moment. Definitely not kind of the way you want things to be going for now. He's just got these few Marines going to work their way around that left-hand side here. Kelazhur trying to get himself in position and trying to maybe see if there's something to be done. But SpeCial's position is really just kind of taken off in this game number 4 now.
Yeah. I will say this, since Kelazhur got the confirmation of the 3 factories, so kind of... That does not confirm a mech-based, ground-based mech, sorry. Like, they could have gone 3 factories and then added 2 starports, actually. But still. Point I was going to make is that when Kelazhur believes accurately that it is a more, let's say, typical bio-versus mech game, I do think this is still okay for him, just, like, stylistically. So it's not going into the super fast battle cruisers that really throw you off. It's not, the super pressure play from SpeCial's tanks that make him overly defend his bases. Like, he will have some room to play with. He actually gets to Marine Marauder. He actually gets to a handful of Medivacs. And it's not a great game for Kelazhur because the mech players out-expanded you. Maybe this is where you can get that epic concave, that epic drop into the main, whatever happens. But it's usually unlikely, I gotta say. There's a reason most people just go into starports. And it's that the army that Kelazhur is making, at the end of the day, at the maxed out supplies, is not better than the one SpeCial made.
Nope, it is not. And SpeCial is just not wasting time, is he? He's just coming across the map. Hellions, Vikings, Cyclone, just finding some bio in the middle of the map. So there's a little jump from SpeCial as well. So that already works out quite nicely for him. He's got a Hellion block in the 4th from landing as well. And he's going to run up into position here. Grabs a lock on. Remember, those Cyclones still have that power up, so they still kill things very quickly. That's going to be the first tank going down. The second tank should go down here for Kelazhur as well. And SpeCial was just sieged up a moment or 2 sooner. And he's just going to start playing that positional game. We saw him play so well already on Berlingrad. Once he gets going, it's just so hard to stop him.
So hard to stop a mech player. Once they get maxed out and across the map, you've already kind of failed as the bio player. Unless you're on your own way to transitioning over into Viking Raven or Viking Liberator, you're supposed to have trouble. So Kelazhur really wanted to identify the move out quicker than he did, and then also save the units that actually were there to see the move out. And instead, it just got obliterated, and SpeCial moves ever closer to actually hitting one of these bases. Very important that he is not hitting Kelazhur's base, though. This still gives Kelazhur a chance to move around, rebuild the army, and then prep for maybe even phase 2 if he believes that he can take the army on. Actually, SpeCial has so many Hellbats. It's so hard to take care of.
Yeah, we see Kelazhur moving down. He's going to get a concave, but the tanks on the high ground. The Raven shots came in so late on that, and he's going to end up cleaning up, but at a huge expense, right? Like, he loses a lot of bio. No, he left that tank alive. It's going to get some extra shots up. Oh, he turns back for it, loses all the Marauders that were there. Jeez, just, tell me something's bad without saying anything, right? Not pretty. There goes the Raven, so that's the last the Raven will cast as well. And now SpeCial is up and on top of that base with at least 1 tank. And that's going to slowly begin the pressure that Kelazhur did not really want to be dealing with.
It would have been such a beautiful arc. Even this is a nice arc. It just... Well, this one doesn't have enough units, so that's that. But the previous one, the fact that he went around that kind of corner and got all bunched up with